Anthony, LT King, Yellow Tape King, Tony, whatever you call me, lets me know what I was on. He was fucking with me, but we are here to talk Ravens with the great Carita Parks. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Great.
Um, Training camp been treating you well?
Yeah, as well as it can be with the heat and everything. But yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, it's hot all over the place. It's hot all over the place. I'm down in Florida, so it don't make no sense.
Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about that, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, we did. Um, how do you feel about the Ravens and how do you feel about their offseason? How do you, I wouldn't say necessarily how would you give it a grade, but are you feeling positive about it?
It seems positive because there's new energy, new coaching staff, new head coach, so many new faces. And I think every time you have something new, everyone feels energized. And so there's been a lot of positive vibes, a lot of positive feedback on the coaching. I just think we have to see how it translates to the season, but it's definitely a lighter vibe.
Is it? I was well. That was the Jesse Mentor part. I was going to ask how does the team feel like they're adapting to him and his culture? Because a whole new coach that is a different thing. So does it seem like they're adapting well to that?
Yes, but I want to say his culture is different enough, but not significantly different than what the Ravens culture has been because he did coach with the Ravens. And I think that that is also one of the reasons that they brought him in because he still was someone who is going to bring fresh ideas and a fresh approach. And they like his defensive prowess, but he's not going to get too far away from the Ravens core culture.
Ah, That's that is so interesting that you say that because I always say the Ravens, the Steelers, which are your rivals, and like it's just certain teams in the NFL. It's almost like a college style of culture. Of it doesn't matter how many years you go through, they just look a certain way. They play a certain.
Yes,
They
yes.
are a
They
certain.
have a standard.
They have a standard. They have a standard. We got my boy Randy here. What's happening?
Hello.
Happening, Randy. We're here talking Ravens. Shout out to him. I had him on. We talked Dolphins, which I think you guys may have a little bit better season than them this year. Just just slightly. But speaking of going into the season, what is your best and worst case scenario for the Ravens this year?
Well, obviously, best case scenario is they go to the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl. That's the best case scenario,
Always.
always. And, if I were going to give an alternate best case scenario, I would definitely say at least making it to the playoffs. And for Ravens fans, that is not necessarily something that they're not used to. So not sure if they would see that as best case scenario. They probably would see the Super Bowl at best case scenario. But I'm saying that only because the fact of the matter is it's still a new coaching staff. So it could go either way as far as how well they adapt to the new systems and new thought process. I mean, they are having joint practices right now in Minnesota, and you have Brian Flores who loves the blitz, and he's been bringing the blitz, and it has been putting pressure on the offense. So we just have to see how fast everything comes together in the season. But like I said, best case scenario, they go to the Super Bowl and they win it, or at least get to the playoffs.
Well, I'm gonna ask you about your Super Bowl picks later, but I'll let the cat out the bag because I did my picks yesterday. I got Ravens in there. My uncle he commented on the show yesterday, and I didn't realize this. I'm pretty sure you did. Lamar Jackson wins MVPs with new coordinators. Like
Yes.
this seems to be when he has his best season. So I'm banking on that. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson stan. So
That is a stat that has been floating around, and they've actually asked Lamar about it. He doesn't always, he kind of laughs it off because he doesn't keep track of those kind of things.
yeah.
But yes, every time there's been a new coordinator, he's won an MVP.
Um, how has he seemed to be adapting to it from what you have seen so far? The new coaching staff and the new everything around him.
I mean, he seems happy. He seems happy. He seems satisfied. He talks about how the staff pushes pushes them, challenges them, and they want that. And they all talk about how detail oriented this staff is, particularly Declan Doyle, and they say that that's different from the last staff. So I'm just gonna leave that right there. But everybody seems, in Lamar in particular, seems pleased, and especially with like Declan Doyle, he joked and said that there was a play. Declan Doyle cussed him out, but he liked it.
Well, this is somebody who mom cussed him out for missing
Yes.
running lanes. So he's been coached hard since a young guy, obviously. So that makes
Exactly.
sense. Those little details. That's the difference in winning. They always say NFL football itself is what a game of inches.
It
So
is.
that should be
And
the
we've seen that with this team as well.
yeah, yeah. Oh, who do you think you being there? I'll say offensively and defensively. Who do you think would be like a breakout player for the team or players, I should say?
So offensively, Jacoby Lane for sure. He's just been having a amazing, amazing training camp. And he's carried it over to joint practices and he's carried it over to preseason games. And he seems to be developing a really good chemistry with Lamar. And the man just seems like he catches everything.
Really?
Yeah, like he's definitely been. I say a surprise because he was a third round pick, and that's not to judge how good he is or not. But I don't think you expect a third round pick to come in and just dominate the way that he has been dominating. And I haven't been covering the Ravens as long as some of the other reporters, but there are reporters that have been covering the Ravens for years and say they've never seen a rookie come in and like just do as well as he's been doing.
That's saying a lot because
Yeah.
somebody who wasn't a rookie too long ago just got $140 million. So, so
Yeah.
that's saying a lot. What about on the defensive side? Is somebody people aren't checking for?
Defense is a little bit more of there's just more to choose from to me as far as who could be a breakout player. And it also depends on how much playing time they actually end up getting
Yeah, this is
during
true.
the season. But right now, I'm really loving what Keon Martin is doing. He was an undrafted free agent last year who made the roster. And it was just like a really great story. But he's having a very, very good camp. I mean, just being very disruptive and making plays. But he's one of those guys where it will depend on how much playing time he gets if I could call him a breakout player during the season. But I also expect one of the young guys in the secondary between Nate Wiggins and Malachi Starks to have a good season. I feel like one of them is going to really step up.
Mm. Well, because Malachi Starks is where at the safety position, right?
Yes, and this is his second season.
Yeah. I
So
can
he's
see.
coming out of his rookie year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the game starts to slow down. And I actually talked to Malachi a little bit about his potential, and he talked about how he felt in his rookie year he was more hesitant. He doesn't think that that's going to be the case going into his second season. He was like, he's going to basically be more of a ball hawk because he's not going to have the same hesitation that he had when he was a rookie.
Yeah, and is I was gonna say it's interesting with cornerbacks when they first come into the league because sometimes that's actually a good thing that he was hesitant because he could have been the cornerback who bites on so many things, right? And he has so much bad tape out there. I'm pretty sure him and being on the other side of Kyle Hamilton, I'm sure that helps a lot. You
Yes.
have arguably the best safety in football over there, so I'm sure you learn a lot with that.
Hmm.
Uh, and he got the pedigree. I believe in pedigree picks or just certain players where it's like all you gotta do is figure it out in between the ears and he'll be good.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
which side of the ball do you think will be the strength of the team this year?
I'm going with defense.
Really?
Yes. If it continues on the path that they're going right now, the Ravens defense has been consistent throughout camp. They've had a lot of good days. Offense has been a little bit more inconsistent, but I believe that's just a part of their growing pains and
Yeah.
learning with their new offensive coordinator. And while they do have new defensive coordinators with Anthony Weaver as a defensive coordinator, and then Jesse Minter is going to be calling the plays, these are two individuals who know the Ravens pedigree because they both
Yeah. Yeah,
were
for
a
sure.
part of the Ravens staff. So I don't think the transition is as big for the defense, but they have been hands down playing well throughout training camp, joint practices. They dominated the Vikings offense. I do know yesterday in the 2 minute drill, like at the end of the practice,
Yeah.
the Vikings were able to like catch up a little bit. But overall, the Ravens defense has been doing very well. And I believe that's going to carry over into the season. And if you think about it, yes, they have Lamar Jackson,
Yes.
but the Ravens have prided themselves on defense for years. And all you heard when they were struggling is we want to get back to like that defense, the defense with Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, what we're known for.
Yes.
So I think that for the Ravens, being the strength of this team is what they want.
Um, do you feel like teams are getting more out of joint practices than preseason games now?
Probably more for the starters because
But yeah.
you see less starters playing in the preseason because of injury and that or because of the possibility of injury. I mean, the Ravens center was injured. Well, I should say center is a competition, but he was leading the competition. He was taking most of the first team reps. He got hurt in joint practices and he's going to be out for an extended period of time. So they're trying to avoid that in preseason games. So for the starters, I believe joint practices are useful because they don't get the reps in the preseason.
Yeah.
I mean, some teams play their starters, but I'm just talking about for the Ravens in particular. That is how and why joint practices are more beneficial for them.
Yeah. I've just been seeing more stuff about it. Do you feel like players should play more in preseason to get those reps? Like the starters?
Me, no, I don't. Because I don't feel like you should risk a starting player who could possibly get hurt in the preseason. I just don't think you should risk that. I mean, imagine if Lamar Jackson got hurt in the preseason. And it goes 50-50. You have people who are like, oh, he should play. But if he played and got hurt, then people would be pissed.
Oh, it
You know?
I get why you don't play players. Like I totally get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like players used to play. Like and it
They
wasn't a, like it was like at some point it changed,
I
right?
know in particular for the Ravens, I believe the year J.K. Dobbins got hurt in a preseason game and was out for the season is
Uh,
when Harbaugh pulled back more on having the starters play.
like I said, I get it. I understand the liability and
Yeah.
the
But I
preseason
agree with you. They did used to play, and
play.
somewhere along the line, it has changed.
It has changed, yeah. The first three games, the third game would be like a
Like they would play a quarter or something like
yeah,
that.
you gotta play the whole thing, but it's because I always think about how the season starts and how it looks, right? Like the first two or
Yes.
three games always look a little clunky
Agreed. Yeah.
compared to like after week 4 or 5, and you're like, okay, this is how football looks. So, hey man, you get better by playing.
I would agree, but
You get better
I
by
would agree. I just think it depends on every coach is different because you still
yeah.
have. I mean, Joe Burrow still plays in the preseason. You know.
Now I would not let Joe Burrow play. Just off of his track record of injury, he certain players like he would definitely get a pass. But as a Ravens fan and somebody who cover him, I'm sure you let him have at it. Let him have at it. You think you guys win in the North?
There's a good possibility because I mean the Bengals, when Joe Burrow is healthy, always seems to give the Ravens a run for their money. But it just feels like with the Steelers, I don't know what the Steelers are going to look like without Mike
Um,
Tomlin. I'm not going to even lie to you.
they quarterback old. I don't trust them.
So I from and then the Browns,
They the Browns.
Shade, they are the Browns. They do have new coaches and stuff, but they still the Browns. They're gonna have to prove it to me before I would ever think the Browns would take the division. So but the Bengals don't have Trey Hendrickson anymore.
They,
And
they
that
don't.
makes a difference. But I feel like the Ravens have a very good chance of winning this division, especially if everyone stays healthy.
Oh yeah, always.
I
That's
absolutely think so.
Look, I gotta tell you something. I have a thing I say about the Browns. Okay, the Browns, because the NFL, the great thing about the NFL is everybody has a chance, right? Your team has a chance,
Mhm.
except the Browns. I feel like the Browns are the only team that when the ball is kicked off at 1 p.m. on Sunday, they're eliminated from the playoffs.
Now, I will say, I don't think that it'll be this year, but Todd Monken, I know that it was some wishy-washiness about how, or there were rumors. I never heard from that players myself, but there were rumors that like players didn't work well with Todd Monken. But he's a hardcore old school type of guy, and with the Browns having this track record of really not having the best situations, you never know what Todd Monken can come in and do. But I don't think it'll be a transformation this season.
No, not at all. Not at all. And that's another thing about football is like there's no quick turnarounds for bad
Hmm.
teams, right? Like I'm a Panthers fan. I wanted 8 wins last year because we were coming from five. Like yeah, I know it's hard to make those kind of jumps.
Yeah.
Now I want 10. And we need to win the division.
A little greedier
Yeah,
now.
you start wanting more. So we'll see. But I've said this about Lamar Jackson. Healthy Lamar Jackson wins the AFC North, and that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Right? If he plays
He's a
50,
beast when he's healthy.
he plays 15 or more games, you guys win the division. That's just what has happened. So I don't see that changing at all. If he's healthy, like you said, health is always the thing.
Yeah. If he's healthy, and I do know he's happy, so healthy and happy Lamar.
And that's pretty cool, right? Because that's one thing that I've liked about the Ravens, and you're there. Not a lot of contract talk. It's just all been about football.
Well, they try to talk to him about his contract, but he's always not trying to have that conversation. So that is why it's about football, because Lamar is like, "Sir, no, I'm not answering that."
Yeah. Well, that's it keeps everything about.
Hmm.
It's totally different than what you hear about what's going on in Tampa or other places
Right.
when it's a
Yeah.
problem about the money, right? So that keeps
Lamar,
it.
yeah,
That,
he will shut them contract conversations down, and his reasoning is, "I'm focused on football."
which is cool because you win a Super Bowl, you get a lot of money.
Exactly.
You can you name your price, you win a Super Bowl. Um, Speaking of Super Bowl, I don't know how much this affects your life. Uh, Super Bowl is on Valentine's Day this year. Uh,
Well, as a sports reporter, I'm always going to be with. I'm going where the sports
you going with a sports
is,
side. You going
because
with
we can celebrate Valentine's Day any day.
this is a fact. This is a fact. Back in LA, I feel like they were just there. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
me too.
Like that
I feel
was
like it's been heavy on the West Coast.
yeah. It truly has. It truly has. What we've had in the last 6 years: Vegas, San Francisco, LA twice.
Hmm.
Oh, and Arizona.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
So it has been heavy on the West Coast. Wow. I didn't even. Dang. See, you got me thinking. That's why I like having these conversations. Get my mind going. Oh, but I got to hold your feet to the fire. Who are the two teams you got playing in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, February 2027.
I feel like it is a very good chance if everything goes well and health, all of that. I definitely think it's a good chance the Ravens could be in the Super Bowl. They've been so close, and this new coaching staff was brought in to get them there. So I'm going to go Ravens. I haven't really thought as much about the NFC side. I do believe it's possible the Seahawks could make another appearance.
Back to back.
I think it's possible.
Look, Sam Darnold has won 14 games twice. I think that I think that deserves more respect than he's been getting.
I
Uh,
mean, listen,
I
when they said Sam Darnold was going to be their quarterback, I rolled my eyes. But
me too.
whatever. But they were able to unlock Sam Darnold. I respect it
He-
because I definitely did not. You could never tell me the Seahawks would win the Super Bowl
yeah.
with Sam Darnold as their quarterback. But it would be kind of cool if it was the Ravens. It would be cool because it would be Mike McDonald,
Oh
Jesse
yeah.
Minter, and Mike McDonald have history. I
Oh man.
believe. I believe Jesse Minter was hired after Mike McDonald at Michigan, and then obviously they know each other from the Ravens connection. So it would be a lot of stories out of
That's
those two matchups.
that'd be pretty cool. And you know what? I have even though they won the Super Bowl, I feel like I'm still just overlooked Seattle. But like,
I think
give
it's
me
because they're on the West Coast, and I don't feel like we see during the season Seattle's games a lot.
well Thursday night football. They love NFC West games. It feel like I feel like they play them all the
But
time.
Thursday night football is the one day that people
Yeah,
are hit or miss on
this is true. This is
watching
true.
because
But
it's usually on like Prime or
yeah,
now they have them all everywhere.
yeah, they NFL. Let's a little too spread out for me. But yeah, they have everything you need. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba, so you have the top flight receiver. You have
I don't
the
see their
seven.
defense getting worse.
They got young. There's because they were so young, right? And a couple people got paid, so like you said, they're happy. It's just health. Like playing the extra games and then coming back to
It's
play another
always
season
help. It's
is
always help.
is hard. But I'm not mad at that. I'm truly not. Somebody, I've gotten some picks that made me scratch my head. That's not one of them. I had Ravens Cowboys.
Really?
Got Ravens Cowboys.
Hmm.
If
Cowboy. Why the Cowboys?
because the Cowboys are that classic team that if their defense can be average, they'll
Hmm.
be okay because they can score. Their defense was just so bad that they wasn't scoring enough. So if they can get to 12th, 13th in the league, that offense is scary. You know,
Interesting. I mean,
that
it's always so interesting at this point in the season
it
because
is right.
we can all make our picks and then we'll be getting
Well,
close to the Super Bowl like,
well, I've been saying, six of the 14 teams that were in the playoffs won't even make the playoffs.
yeah,
Right? The history of football of the NFL is like three on the NFC side, three on the AFC side. They won't even be in the playoffs to begin with. So it is always that's what makes the NFL so good. If you're
agree.
not the Browns, you got a chance. You're not the Browns and maybe the Raiders. Cowboys would be crazy. I'll be honest with you. I'm not ready for Cowboys fans making it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, the fans are crazy. Thank you so much.
It's
Thank
Randy.
you.
That's the homie. That's my co-host on. We do a wrestling podcast on Saturdays,
Oh,
2 Raw for SmackDown. So, yeah. But you are always great.
thank you.
I appreciate you always being open to come on. Like I
Absolutely.
said, I see you work. You're all over the place. Can I ask you about the Mystic real quick?
Sure.
How excited is the DC area about the Mystic? Because they should be very excited.
You know, I will say, I'll say this. I will give the DC Mystics fans a lot of credit because I've been covering that team since 2019 and I've always just been so impressed how much the fans show up for the Mystics.
Yeah,
So the fans always show up for the Mystics. But as you said, they've been exciting this season. And it's a little surprising only because they are the second youngest team in the league.
yeah.
They got rid of a lot of vets. They have still have Shakira. They brought in Michaela. but for the most part, not a lot of vets. And so the thought process, and even for the coach, was that they would need a lot of time to develop and build their chemistry. And it was a little choppy in the beginning, but those girls are so resilient. I
Yeah.
just really believe that resiliency, especially in the beginning when those games were coming down to the wire, some of them they lost early. But I
Yeah.
believe they learned from those. And when it was coming in the fourth quarter, like I say it all the time, I'm taking the Mystics. If it comes down, we got 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it's a tie game. I'm taking the Mystics at this point because they always have seemed to be able to pull it through. But yeah, it's exciting right now because I don't think anybody thought that they would be in playoff contention this season.
Yeah. I mean, they pretty much locked in. It just
I
whatever.
know we were, we
Yeah,
trying to
numerically, yeah, they're pretty much
see how
locked
it
in.
plays out, but right, and they
Yeah.
definitely don't want to talk about it right now.
What you call it? You covering multiple sports. You being somebody who loves sports. The Mystics show you what playing a full game is. Whatever the full game is, four
Yeah.
quarters, two halves, whatever it is. It shows. Hey, if you play hard, you're gonna win a lot of these games, right? If you just don't let go of the rope.
Together and toughness is all they've been talking. That has been, it's not a theme, I would say, that's like plastered somewhere, but just being in their press conferences all the time, togetherness and toughness is the theme at almost every single press conference. Like that is what is getting them through.
Yeah, and most of their players are what, first year, second year.
Yes.
So this is going to be a force to be reckoned with for a while.
Yes, indeed.
Ah, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Might maybe giving you guys a parade.
Let's hope so because in 2019, I was covering the Mystics. They won the WNBA championship. They did not get their parade because
No.
COVID hit. And
Ah,
I just feel like that team did not get their due celebration
that was
because
Della Don,
COVID
right?
hit. Just yeah.
Oh my god.
And
Which
what happened was, so they won the championship, right? But you had a lot of them that were like the next day had to go report to teams overseas. So that's one of the reasons they didn't get it immediately. But I can't remember. They were going to have it, I can't remember. Let's say March. I think
yeah.
they were going to have it in March, like some kind of parade or celebration. But like I said, COVID hit,
Okay.
and I just don't feel like that team ever got what they deserved for winning the championship. So if there's a do over, I do hope that they get a parade and all the
Oh
celebration
yeah.
that they deserve.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Okay. All right. One more thing. One more thing. Because you cover so much. I gotta ask you. Washington Wizards.
I knew that's where you were going.
Washington Wizards. I almost love everything they're doing. Almost. Right?
What's the almost?
Do you think they're adding almost too many good pieces and taking away from AJ being able to grow and be a rookie who can actually blossom? Because I saw they also looking at DeMar DeRozan. I'm like, they don't need nobody else to take
I don't
shots.
think they'll bring DeMar DeRozan. I actually see it opposite. Honestly, I feel like they're having those. They're bringing them around, so the pressure is not just on AJ, especially his rookie year. He's going to play, number
Yeah.
one pick. He's playing, but I saw it more as taking the pressure off of AJ in his rookie season,
Okay.
and that will allow him to develop.
Okay. Okay.
I also feel like they're in a situation where it's time to compete. Like
Well,
we good with the development. The development. I have sat through that for probably 3 seasons at this point. We good on that. It's time to compete, and that's the mindset. That's the mindset. And so you got to have some. You got the guys who have developed, like Keyshawn George, Alex Starr. I mean, they got a lot of
got Koulibaly. I like him.
Bilal. They've got a lot. Bub. I mean, they've got a lot of good pieces. Then they added a little bit of veterans. You got Trey Young, who's going to be trying to prove himself.
He, yeah.
You got AD, who wants an extension. So I think they'll be good.
Then you brought in Aiton to be a backup.
Yes,
I,
yes.
I think he'll be a great backup.
I agree. I agree.
I'm a Lakers fan. Seeing him start was hard to watch.
But I
Uh,
do think he'll be a great, right, to your point, I think he'll be a great backup.
He's gonna be a great backup. Got to lock in AD though. I think you got to lock in AD. You lock in AD, playoff team. Not even a play-in team. I think the Wizards should be a playoff team.
Agreed.
Like that's that roster. They've done good work.
They have. I'll give it that. It has been a rough couple seasons, but what I will say about the new front office, they've been very clear with their vision every step of the way. And I believe that although it was still, as a fan, it's always going to be a little frustrating.
Oh
But
yeah,
I do believe that's why there's been some patience with it, because there hasn't been any over promising.
yeah.
There hasn't, they've named the phases. The general manager was calling that phase the deconstruction phase. He's been very clear that the deconstruction phase is over, and now they're on to the next phase of the rebuild. So I will give them that.
I know it seemed like it, for me on the outside, it seemed like it all came together pretty quick. Like it seemed like Trey Young, AD, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
definitely that's from the outside.
It seemed like it happened so fast. I'm like, wait,
If
what
you sit at those games, it feels slow. But in the grand scheme of things, if I take that out of it, yeah, it came together. I mean, it came together perfectly, if we're really being honest. For
Yeah,
the Wizards to get that number one pick at this time,
yeah.
at the time where they needed to take the next step, it was almost perfect. So
I
I
think
think for Wizards fans, it was worth the wait now.
it'd be good. Let's go. We need DC to be good. I was watching old Gilbert Arenas games the other day. I don't need to be doing that. I need to be watching the
Yeah.
new guys.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you, like I always say. I appreciate your time, you being
Thank
able to
you.
be on. Have to do this again. You know, you got so much DC stuff going on. A lot of good stuff going on. Like you say, the Wizards, Mystic, Ravens. I don't believe in the Commanders, so we can leave them out. And but yeah, so let everybody know where they can find you and they can get your stuff.
Yeah, so you can find me on all social media platforms. At Carita C Parks is my personal platforms, but there's always sports going out of those platforms. Also, make sure you're following my sports media company, Double Take Sports. That's at DBL Take Sports on all social media platforms, including YouTube. So make sure you subscribe there. And you can visit our website at dbltakesports.com.
Yes, yes, and great stuff firsthand. She is courtside. She is what field side. She is
I'm on
everywhere.
the sidelines
She's
everywhere.
there. You go. She's on the sidelines everywhere. Even golf courses. Do they consider that sidelines on golf
No,
courses?
you're right. That's a different one.
See, she's everywhere. So yeah, make sure you're checking out what she has going on. And for me, you won't see me till Saturday when we're talking wrestling with my boy Rainey, 2 Raw for SmackDown at 1 p.m. And then yeah, you make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Like everybody who does content, tell people to do. Share this with somebody who likes sports because I know they'll like this, especially if they like the Ravens. It's been Talking Game. Peace.